This meeting is our Web Advisory Committee, and we've got here Marsha, and who else?
Bentley.
Nancy.
Suzanne.
Jennifer Gallardi.
Hi, everyone. It's Anthony.
Anthony, static Anthony. No animated Anthony?
No, just Anthony face.
Well, one of the things we want to do today is go over some analytics. And so Weina is supposed to be here. And I'm hoping that Bentley and Weina together will give us a presentation on
You want me to text her?
and where they're going and how this is going to help us determine some future changes. And then I'll talk to you about some changes that I'm working on and have made, well, I'll tell you how much success.
I have a question about
Yes.
the YouTube channel. Is that appropriate to ask now?
YouTube channel, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. The YouTube channel, should all the stuff from the conference be released to be made public?
Okay.
Now that most of the closed captions are in place?
Okay, so thank you for asking that question. I was waiting until somebody told me where we were on that aspect of it, because I was, and then I will bring them in to the webpage through our resources. So at the moment, they're, I'm going to try to share a page with you, okay?
I just sent her a text.
Here's the, are you, oh no, wrong page. Wrong page. Let's see. Too many things open here. Let's try. Nancy, you want to say something while I'm fussing around here? Nancy, do you want to say?
Yes. Weina said that she didn't receive a link.
Oh, well then, I will have to get there.
Do you want me to forward it to her?
Oh yes, please. Please.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, you do that for me. Thank you.
No worries.
All right, let's see. Wrong one. I keep sharing. I have too many windows open that say carousel. Let's try opening. Let's see if I can find the right one. Shared screen.
Let's try this door.
Yeah, I know. Really, all these things that are okay. I'm looking at one that looks just perfect. Okay, here's the one. Okay, so here's this is under our resources, right? Under online training. So these are the recordings of online sessions. These are the ones we did. Well, I put the dates on them, right? So these are all the ones from March. Not all the ones. All the ones that we actually recorded. Not all.
No, I'm sorry. I was talking about the ones related to the virtual conference. That's
Yes.
the one I was speaking of. But we can talk about these too.
Yes. So what I'm going to say is comma and. My plan is to add those from the May conference to this page.
Oh, good.
Okay. So what that means is that for each one of the videos, I have to create another page with with a title and some information about it and the presenter, and then I embed the video here. So it's available to all carousellers. So currently, we're going to put it in, and even if they didn't pay for registration to the conference, carousellers will get the benefit of seeing the recording.
But I think it's a couple of those workshops that we had at the virtual conference should be made public, like for instance the crashing one, because people will stumble on the carousel page simply by looking for crashing lectures, and I think it would drive more publicity for our group. So even though you may not want to make all the workshops from the virtual conference public, some of them should be made public.
Okay, well, thank you for your comments. I'm writing it down, and I'm not the one who made the decision.
Of course.
So I am going to write it down and say, this was a suggestion.
Yeah.
Now, already the members, the participants, half of whom were Kati sellers and half of whom who were not yet Kati sellers. Some people joined, but of the people who attended, the 435 people who attended, half of them were from outside of Kati Sell. And some people came from other parts of the world, as you probably remember. So they already have access to the videos, not in the same wonderful form that the video team is putting them in, one by one. They were all glommed together.
Yeah, I was the one who cut those up.
I appreciate that.
And then the closed captions were already there. I think it's really good that people went in and basically, you know, brush up the closed captions. But I think a lot of them should be reposted and redistributed, and I think it would be really helpful to people.
Okay, well, I will bring that to the board and see what happens there. All right, we got here Ms. Weina Lee Chen. So let's hear from you and Bentley, because our first topic of the day is analytics.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Nancy, for forwarding me the link. Yeah. Hi, Bentley. He's here. So first of all, me and Bentley wants to figure out a way to combine, to have a code for the Google Analytics, and then use the code to, build the Google Analytics result on the Katiso Gmail account, because right now it's on my personal account. So we are going to do that, off this meeting. Yeah. Do you want us to show some analytic results?
I think it would be helpful for you to show us, and maybe just a general thing. Maybe some of us are not that keen on what this means.
You know, that being said, we can show the old data, but it's not representative at all of what the site is doing. So what needs to happen is we're working on that code. It has to be on not a personal email, but on the actual Katiso web or the Katiso Gmail account, at which point that code that it generates will be embedded in the MemberLeap website, right? So that we can track individual pages. We can actually see what are these users looking at, right? We don't want the web team to spend a lot of time building pages that no one's ever going to go look at. So we want to see how users actually use our website, and then enforce those pages, right? And spend our time building those out so that it's actually useful and helpful to the end user. So I think the first thing that needs to happen is we need to see how to get that code generated onto the Katiso Gmail account, and separate Weina's account from it.
That's right. Yeah, so Bentley, I have my Google Analytics open right now. Since everyone's here, maybe we can give them a quick walkthrough. Do you want to do that? Yeah.
I can do it because you have it open, right?
I have it, yeah. I can share my screen and you can talk it through.
Okay, great.
Because,
Let's have you share your screen. Do you have option, or do I have to?
Yeah, you need to give me the access.
Okay, so now, ding, ding, you have access.
Perfect. Thank you. Let me see. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think since I don't know what screens are coming up here, I'm just going to speak generally about what type of information we can get from this type of reporting. In short, we can get lots of detail, but it's really more of a question of what detail is really key to us. And one of them will be, what pages are our users actually visiting? Not just externally of MemberLeap, but also internally, right? So what pages are they going to? Are they going to these videos that we think they're looking at, right? We want to see how many are going there, how many are looking at the videos, which videos they're looking at, so that we can make some more informed decisions as to the content that we are creating for the site. I believe the information she's showing here is only for 2 months. Is that correct?
7 days.
7 days. Okay, so it's
Mhm.
really, yeah, we can't use it at all. It's not representative.
Which
But
7 days is this showing?
Last 7 days, so we can change, you know, the.
Oh, so this is
the
live.
range.
We're looking at a live then.
Yeah, we are looking at the live, so we can change to last 90 days or last 28 days.
On your computer, or I mean on your Gmail account, right?
It is in my email account, yeah. So we just need to
It's a
transfer.
90-day button.
Sorry, what is it?
The 90 days.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you can see a little more in terms of the page views. We also want to be able to take a look at the unique user type. A unique user is an individual IP address that shows us how many times one visitor might come back to the site, right? And it also will tell us how long are they on the site, right? It's normal to have a bounce rate from a website, but usually you don't want that from the homepage. You want homepage to redirect people to other pages. And so these are the kind of things that we can then analyze and try to improve to get our visitor experience to increase and have people stay on the site longer.
I have a suggestion. It would be really interesting to see what the statistics were on the run up before the conference, during the conference, and then after the virtual conference. Because yeah, I think that would be really interesting, but that's for another time.
Actually, you can see it right here.
Okay, great.
So as you can see, around May, middle May, 13 to 24-ish, we have the most active users, more than almost 2K.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
And those
And
2K those all represent unique individual users.
Okay, and why are there three?
Three
Three bars, like the blue, the light blue, and the green. Those 3 lines are different kinds of users, or what?
We'd have to go back to it. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Is it, I was wondering, would the analytics, would it make a distinction between the type of content that that the user clicked on? For example, in Facebook, I can track whether they're responding to a video, how long their post engagement click is, if they stay on the video or just a still graphic. Is there a way to make a distinction between what sort of content is driving?
It will show us what content they are looking at. I don't believe Google Analytics will tell us how long they are staying on an individual video, at least not in this. Through YouTube, you can tell that. But
Okay.
so we can look at like the YouTube account where our videos are sitting, and we can see what the engagement is there. It's also,
Okay.
I don't know that they've merged with this analytics, but once I can get in here and we can look around a little bit, we can see whether we can see content specifically if we can
Okay.
get information. Right now, for instance, it would tell us they went to this page and they clicked on this video,
Okay.
but not how long they were on the video or you know.
Okay. No, that'd be great.
So the main idea of getting this data and understanding it is to kind of streamline our process in terms of focusing. One thing, Nancy, that's really interesting that it will show us is if you're pushing stuff out on social media, it will
Okay.
show us from where it's coming from, what social media accounts,
Perfect.
what direction the traffic's coming from.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
So as you can see here, from social is 133 in last 90 days, between May 4th to 10th. And referral means they jump from another website. Organic search is like Google search to like carousel.org or just search carousel. Well, actually carousel. Direct means they type in www.carousel.org and they came to this website. So we have most people know our website address already.
Already members.
Yeah, already members.
Weina, can I ask a question
Mhm.
about that? if we're emailing out to people with a link to, for example, like a link to the virtual conference or a link to the annual conference, so where would is that a referral or is that something else?
I want to ask Bentley. My thinking is should be a referral, but Bentley.
It is a referral, and it would actually show us that it came from an email, so we should be able to see that.
Oh, okay.
Not what email, but we'll know who sent what on what date. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Now-
we do a lot of, I did a lot of reaching out to people via email to let them know about the virtual conference. So it would be nice to see, you know, kind of the fruits of that labor, you know, and, you know, / is email an effective way to reach out to people, you know, to get some numbers on that.
Maybe as a follow-up to Anthony's question, I remember when I was at Blackboard and we would use the data analytics, we used Salesforce. And to Anthony's point about the email, we had software where we could tell if when a recipient received the email, if they actually opened the email. And we were able to run data analytics on which emails, based on their subject heading, generated more leads or clicks. Is there anything to Anthony's point about that where we could not only track the email, but see if they've actually opened the email?
You know, I don't believe that is a reference in Google Analytics. That's more done through like, you know, MailChimp or mail service providers that where you have an engine that can track that individual mailing.
The individual, okay.
Yeah. So we can look into it and see if that might be included here. I haven't seen it before.
I know MailChimp can do it. Like you can track if the link was clicked, right?
Okay.
It's over there, yeah. I don't know if you're using MailChimp right now or not.
MailChimp has a free account. I think you can have up to 500 users in your list. But you know, I think we probably would rather have something more carousel, all-encompassing to measure things. So the question might be, I don't know if MemberLeap has, I mean, I'm sure it has some features there where we can track our posts and things like that, but not emails, I guess.
I know we
we set up a MailChimp account that we can all use.
I have a MailChimp account, but and I guess we use Salesforce, which, you know, so you could actually track and you could keep. So, for example, if Anthony sent out various emails, he would have he could log the activity and run a certain set of data analytics. But you would use, so MailChimp, would that be the closest that we could get to getting?
Yeah, MailChimp's one provider. I know there's others out there too, like Direct Mail is one, MailChimp, and there's a couple others.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other data you want to see?
Now, I think it's important to realize when we switch over the carousel account, we lose this data. So it will have to be downloaded as PDF information. So we'll have a record of it, but it's literally starting from new.
Okay, so start making PDFs and then get the, I hope you guys will figure that out today. Try to get the account within the carousel.
So, but so this data is sitting in Weina's Google account. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. So yeah, maybe we should think super carefully then about what account. So there might be an account that already exists,
Well, the
right?
carousel at carousel.org is the carousel main account, right, Anthony? So
I don't know what carousel at carousel.org. I didn't think that could, well, I think that's a Gmail, but I'm not, that's a Susan Gare question.
okay, so we will ask Susan.
That's a Gmail account. We use that one for her for the mobile app that we're building out. I can double check.
No, carousel at carousel.org is not a Gmail account. She's
Weina.
carousel Susan at gmail.com. That's a different account.
Yeah, I think Weina knows. The account that we're talking about, who currently has control of that, or whose name is on that account?
Suzanne,
Susan.
me, and Marsha.
Okay.
Bentley, I think I give you access to, I mean, the account information, but
Okay.
yeah.
I haven't been in it, but so that is who currently has control of that account. And
Mhm.
so whatever
It's,
account this is, it should be account dedicated to whoever's involved with the website.
Yeah, it's a Carousel webmaster account.
There
I
you go.
think it's carouselwebmaster@gmail.com, something like that.
carouselwebmaster@gmail.com. Yeah, you gave it to me last time. Is it underscore webmaster or is it all one word?
Let me double check.
So Anthony, I don't know if that answers your question, but
isn't, so it sounded like though that maybe we wanted to use carousel@carousel.org as the master account, right?
No, yeah, that was I spoke out of turn because I forgot. It was Weina who gave me the account, and I didn't remember it correctly, and she's checking to make sure that that is the name of the account.
Okay.
Is what? Now I'm writing it down.
But do we want to use this one or the one Anthony is suggesting?
No, I think we should. This way, if it's carouselwebmaster@gmail, I mean that sounds like something that should be for the website, but maybe perhaps the kind of the back end of it.
Yes.
If we're using, okay, so then I don't know what carousel.org is. So
Okay, maybe we should ask Susan about that.
yes, I think we should.
Okay, we're gonna, a Susan question is this one, and then how does she envision using the carousel@carousel.org? And then the other one is carouselwebmaster@carousel.org. Is that correct, Weina?
I need
Or
time
you will
to
look it up and let me know later.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Now, could you go back to the bounce rate?
All right, a second.
And Bentley, I'd like you to talk about why we need to lower the bounce rate, what it means, and why we need to lower it, and help me as I talk to other subsets of carousel regarding the reasons why we want to have them use carousel.org in order to promote and protect the brand. Talk about that first, and then we'll go into that second half of it.
okay. So one of the things on this website, when I first started looking at it back in January with Weina and Marsha, is we noticed the site has many opportunities to get our visitors to leave the site, whether it is a link to this, a link to that, so a lot of these things were moved inside of the membership area so that it was more of a membership benefit that they had to access and log in. We don't want to have people hit our homepage and leave immediately, and that's what the bounce rate represents. It shows how many people land on the homepage and then leave, right? And actually, it shows us that on multiple pages. So they might have gone to one other page and then left from there. So, if we are promoting an event, right? Let's take a chapter event, and we have something on the homepage, but the next link takes it to their Facebook page or some other page. By default, we just lost them off the main site. So I know that's changing, and now we're incorporating all these into MemberLeap so that they stay within the site, which is what we want, right? It increases the visibility of this organization as kind of the flagship. So that's the goal. Now, I can't speak to this number here, 51%, because I haven't really looked at the data in terms of what makes up that 51% and why that is that high. But that's what we're going to be doing as soon as we have it on the new account.
Okay, so I need help marketing this idea. The reason I'm telling you this is because we have a lot of regionals and conference groups that have been used to doing their own Wix, Weebly, you have it, you name it, and they're going like, wah, wah, wah. What do you mean we have to go into the mothership? It's like, why can't we just do what we've always done? We know it, it's comfortable to us, it's so pretty, blah, 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 blah. it costs money. We don't have money, okay? That's one thing. So money is one driver. But the other driver is this whole business of trying to protect and promote the brand and within carousel.org. So I'm asking you to tell me other things that I can say to Los Padres or Orange County or any of the other, Bay Area or wherever, when we're saying you got to devise a way to come to bring your website under our aegis. Help me.
Let me also explain how that's actually calculated. So the bounce rate is a combination of the number of people who are visiting your website divided by the number of pages that are being looked at on your website. Okay. So usually that's an indicator that a lot of people are hitting the home page and leaving from there.
So, Marsha, to your point, so, for those of us who have been around a while, we know that, all these technology assets have grown up organically, and that's a nice way of putting, a nice way of saying that basically everybody in their own place has been doing whatever they want. So I think that, and that's okay because, at least folks have shown initiative over the years to get these things organized and to organize it the way that they saw best. And they didn't always have, leadership or guidance from the mothership, as it were. So, you sort of reap what you sow, I suppose. So, okay, so if we're thinking about doing something different, so Marsha, I would say that probably, I think that carousel really, I think that, from the board level, from this kind of top level, I think we need to be, if we're going to say that you should really do this thing, then I think it needs to be super clear what it is that we want somebody to do, right? And that, I'm not just saying, I'm saying down to the mechanics of it, right? I'm saying, okay, if you want to have a web presence, then this is what your web presence is going to look like, or this is what we're proposing that it's going to look like. And this is going to be here, and this is going to be here, and this is going to be here, and this is going to be here. So I think it's not, I don't think we just say to people or strongly suggest to people that this is what you should do. I think it needs to be like super spelled out what it is exactly we're asking an entity to do, whether it's a chapter, whether it's an interest group, whether it's a regional conference, whether it's a this or a that. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not sure exactly how that idea is going to go over because as you suggest, like people in their own corners have been doing this for a very long time, some longer than others. So to all of a sudden say that we're asking you to think about doing it a different way, I'm not sure how that's going to go over exactly. But I think maybe...
Not well.
Yeah, right. I mean, right, the long and the short of it is probably not well. So, but I do think that it maybe helps our case to say, because not every entity is equal, right? There are some entities out there, some chapters, some regionals that are a lot more, have
vibrant.
Yeah, well, no. I mean, it's like they have a thing, and it looks pretty good actually, and they've been doing it fairly well. So versus some other groups that are kind of trying to catch up, and it's gone out of in and out of people's hands over the years, and so or maybe it's dormant or what have you. So maybe it's starting with some of those folks to say that carousel could help you. Like carousel could help the effort here, right? So like and this is our proposal, and this is how you do it, or this is what we're suggesting you do. So maybe we look across the organization and think about some folks who could use some quote unquote help. And maybe this is a way that carousel steps in to say, okay, well, we really want to help you, quote unquote help you. So here's our plan. What do you think?
I
Right.
think I think carousel can offer 3 things that regionals cannot deliver on. Number 1, carousel can deliver on consistent quality. So everybody's going to have a similar type of. They could basically host the conference website or the interest group website. They can store documents from there and deliver documents from there, because like if I can't attend a conference, I'm going to go to that website and see if I can download some of those presentations. And a lot of times the regional conferences have no way to download them, but the large carousel and or CASAS or whatever the case may be, they have the ability to deliver those presentations that they were not able to attend. And also you can gather together people's videos or webinars or meetings, whatever the case may be, and host them either on the YouTube channel or the carousel website. So those 3 things would basically really sell carousel to the regional sites and to the interest groups.
Okay, put those 3 things in the chat for me.
Marsha, just a quick
and I-
question. Oh, I'm sorry. Do the local chapters right now have a presence on the website where they have a page that they can create?
Okay, so you see, there are several already. Like Los Padres has one, OC chapter has one, Bay Area has an outdated one. Several chapters have websites. OC is up to date. Los Padres is not really, because it still says that we are giving a conference and they're not giving a conference. It still says we're accepting presentation and they're not. I mean, they're kind of, but it's like they didn't cancel when we canceled. I think East Bay is so far out, Bay Area is so far out of whack, I haven't looked at it for a really long time. So there are those that, people in all good faith set up websites, but then it's like nobody's minding the shop anymore, and there's no oversight. That's one of the problems. We're not even talking about some people who have gone off and taken carousel's name and did things to them that are not supportive to our organization. What I see as really important is at the board meeting, I have put this on the agenda for our next meeting because we've been too busy with the conferences to squeeze it in. It has been on a board meeting a couple of years ago where we say, yeah, we should all bring everybody together. But then there's a lot of work to be done, just like Anthony has said. So the other thing that we have to do is provide training for, if you're going to make a website, then this is how you do it. All right. So the part about that is where it takes place for me is that I have to learn how to do it. There is a way, because Memberleap is very powerful. It just has so many moving parts that I'm only trying to look under the hood of everything and try to, well, as many parts as I can to understand how the different parts work. So one of the main, things to do right now is the annual conference. So I have set up for the conference committee, and now I'm trying to figure out how the conference chairs can create the website within, as a subset of carousel.org. It's very difficult dealing with Memberleap because you have to do it in the ticket format. And I've had like a dozen tickets go back and forth to say, okay, now I've made this group and now I have chairs and now I've given the permissions. How come they can't make a website? And they don't see anything from my point of view. They see it from some, and they will answer me at this level where I want this answer. So it's back and forth. But my goal is to learn how to do this such that I can put together a how-to, so that when we say to Los Padres or OC or whoever, that by this certain time, like by the end of the year or whatever we decide is, more is reasonable, you need to bring your stuff in, and here's we are going to have training opportunities, and we will show you how to do this and enable you
So Marsha, you're halfway there with the whole idea of having a style guide. And the style guide would enable would help the people conform to your idea what should be on the website. So for instance, like when I used to do this kind of stuff, it's kind of like, okay, your group wants a website. Okay, well, I'm going to make a boilerplate website. You know, you just copy paste all the code, and then they can come in and modify to a certain point that page that you made for them.
That's a good idea. And I have entertained that idea. I have my book of stuff that I'm writing down in. And some of the stuff that I write down that I want to do, and I get together with MemberLeap and I say, I have these questions, I want to know how to do them. And I don't know, they just don't think the same way that ESL teachers think. And they shoot me these answers that are like, they miss the mark. So I'm just trying to be patient, saying it's not personal, but I'm going to try to ask my question again. I'm going to free phrase, and I'm going to give it, I said, I tried this and this and this. I'm pretty good at doing troubleshooting. At Mission College, the IT people were always saying, they would always know that if I was the one asking for troubleshooting, I would give them a list of all the things that I tried and the responses. So I'm hoping that eventually I'll get the answer so that I can provide this. Do I need to make the templates? Because if I do that, then they can start something. Or do they have to start it? I'm on the trail to learning that. But what I think is that sooner than later, this will come about, and then I'll be able to sort of like package it as a way to bring people into the fold, so to speak, and try to make it not look difficult. That you too can put together a web page or a conference within your web settings if you're the chair of XYZ regional or XYZ.
You know what always appeals to people? You're taking a burden off of them and giving them something that they want.
Yes.
So for instance, like the reason why I can't do a lot of stuff is because I'm like involved with Milpitas and stuff like that. The spirit is willing, but the flesh and the schedule is very weak. So if you're basically saying, look, we're going to be able to get this up. We have the code. We just copy it. You modify it. You're halfway to whatever you need to happen.
That is what I'd like to get to. I find that we're using MemberLeap is really different from other systems that I've learned. And I know I can do this. I just have to cut through the crap to get through it. And their training videos are paltry. I mean, I feel like I should do the training videos and put it up on their site once I figure out how to do stuff, because they're not good at that. But I'm going to get through it, and then we'll be able to show people how to do it, releasing them from the burden and making it feel like it's just a pleasure to fill in the information and then gather people together.
I think another key is that Nancy has been putting out, if I'm getting the person correct, who's doing the social media, they're doing a really, really good job. So if you're saying to the, so the thing is that that's going to make things even more appealing to teachers, like, hey, we also have a social media package that is ready to go, that is we're going to use our bandwidth to promote your conference, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. But I've been really noticing the carousel stuff when it pops up on Instagram and stuff like that. It's really pleasurable to see that stuff.
That's really cool. That's really great. Yeah. So Nancy and I have been talking about this for a while now, about getting her videos available. Now, can I just show you a little bit of what I'm trying to do with the website, you guys, because I need your input.
Hey, Marsha.
So, somebody else want to say something first?
Oh, it's Weina. Just before you go ahead, is there anything else you want me to show?
Oh, okay. About anything else that we want to know about the analytics?
Michelle has her hand raised.
Main thing is we got to have the analytics come into Katisla's name. Anthony?
Michelle has her hand raised.
Yep.
Michelle!
Hello. Are there search results? Like what are people searching for?
People searching for inside of carousel?
Yep.
I don't know if you have a searching function.
Yeah, we
on
do.
our web-
We have that search button at the very front.
Okay. I will look into the analytics, but I don't think I've seen it before. Bentley, do you know if there's a data trend for searching?
There might be in MemberLeap because MemberLeap has the actual search component built into it. I don't know if we have it in Google Analytics.
Okay, yeah,
You're talking about searches within the site.
within the site, yeah. I personally don't use that function, so I don't know. Yeah, but
Just if someone's like really confused and they're like, I'm just gonna search for it, like what
yeah,
are
yeah.
they searching?
Okay, I can look for it. And Marsha, I think, you know, after you make decision which email account to use, me and Bentley can work with the transition.
Oh, great. That would be really helpful. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you,
Yeah, no
Weina.
problem. Yeah,
So
no
who needs to
problem.
be involved in the decision on which email or which account? I think the webmaster one is what I heard.
Okay, so I will talk with Susan,
Okay.
and then I'll get back to Bentley and Weina, and you two will figure out how to move or how to get it set up for us at carousel. How does that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good. I think it takes, just so that everyone knows, once we have that information, we need to take the code to MemberLeap and they need to then populate it into their pages. So last time I think that took about 2 weeks. Just as an
Oh, everything
FYI.
takes so long. Okay, well, whatever it is you need to be done, have it done, as long as you can frame it properly, I can put a ticket in. Or
Okay.
Susan.
Yeah, the frame's really easy. We send them the code.
That's it. Okay,
Yep,
well,
that's it. They know what to do
that's
with it.
easy. I can do a send.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Weina,
Anthony, yeah.
hi Weina. So
Hi.
and maybe this is back to what Bentley was suggesting at the start of the meeting. So are there? So I'd also like to know eventually, you know, once this gets in place, the pages that aren't getting looked at. So what I'm wondering is how complete of a list can we get back on the analytics that will show us, you know, kind of from top to bottom, like the most popular pages, right, where are the ones that people are going to, but also what are the pages at the bottom of this list that people are not going to. So we can get a pretty complete list on the page visits, is that right?
Mm-hmm. I think we have that data over here.
Could you just show us, like, just give us maybe a couple of examples of pages that nobody's looking at? Just as an example.
I don't know if we have it, but I can see the least favorable pages.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
just a sense of like from start to finish, right?
Let me see. Wow, I guess there's no like page nobody visit. It's only the top like 10, I would say.
Would the pages report have
Yeah, no, we
like
should
all
get
of-
all of them.
Yeah,
It
that's
should
what I'm wondering about.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah, look, Weina, look in the lower right hand corner there, 10 of 325. So I think we'd want to see.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what's like.
Now, to the defense of any website designer, a website with 300 pages is not manageable.
Okay. Okay.
How many is a good number?
I've worked for some large corporations with their websites, and they've all been under 100 pages.
But Bentley, aren't these, so for example, like I noticed, I think the last one was Roz's, right? So what I'm assuming is the analytics will also track once people actually log in, if they're members, for example, they log into the site. And then like Marsha had set it up, I believe, such that each of one of the webinars had its own page. So if there are 20 webinars, there's 20 pages right there.
Yeah, that's true.
So, okay, so maybe, so for example, maybe a conclusion that we make is that we put a lot of work into getting these webinars on the website and nobody's watching them, which is unfortunate, right? Because it's like training that people can, and it's a kind of a reference document. I mean, people can continually go back to it and rewatch it and such. So maybe, yeah, so that's a good, those are good analytics, because then we know, oh, maybe we need to better promote it.
Yep.
And also maybe some pages are 0 view and it's not showing here, right? So we don't really know. Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
and take a look at
really?
the average time spent on the page.
Okay.
Where do we see the time?
Third
Average
column
time.
over.
Column.
Okay.
So all of these at the bottom, it's less, I mean, 4 seconds, 13 seconds, 11 seconds.
Right.
That's more of an oops,
Yeah.
I hit the wrong page.
Okay. Okay, but to my question, so we can get a pretty complete list then.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And maybe to Bentley's point about keeping the pages under 100, if let's say if we have more trainings in the future, I think one of the questions might be to what extent they could be housed elsewhere so that they stay, that we stay under that 100-page sort of ceiling, if you will.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Then I'm speaking to content pages.
Okay.
Not like if we're having pages that are 20 at a pop that make up a link to a live session. I wouldn't count that as an active. I mean, it's an active page, but not as a
Yeah, like for instance, the descriptions on the videos and stuff like that, I really think that could just be on YouTube, in the YouTube comments.
Yes,
I don't think you need a video. I don't think you need the link on the list of webinars, and then the link should just go to the YouTube private video.
No,
Yes.
no.
Why?
We don't want them to bounce outside. We're trying to keep them within carousel.org. That's the whole purpose of my spending hours and hours keeping them embedded within carousel, is to keep them within carousel so they'll explore other areas. We do not want to send them directly to a YouTube channel.
If you monetize the YouTube channel, that could be revenue for carousel.
You can still monetize it, but you can embed the video into our page.
That's
so
what we're
that they
doing
don't
right
leave
now.
the page.
We're embedding the video into our page.
Correct.
Yeah. We're not sending them.
Yeah, if you do that, you're still getting the hits on YouTube, so it's still monetizing it.
Okay, well then this will be really good that you can take a look at the data later and saying, hey, are people really watching this stuff on our website? If they're not, then maybe start freeing up 1 or 2 of the videos and seeing if they do better in public, and see, just see that kind of response. But that's
Okay.
That could be later.
Right.
Marsha, I'm assuming, do we have a carousel YouTube channel?
Okay, so the carousel YouTube channel is Carousel Education Foundation.
Yes.
The Education Foundation is where we are housing all of where we put all the March and May videos. And yeah, and we had an event at Orange County or someplace, and it was videoed.
Yeah,
yes, Orange County with, I think, Nicole.
No,
Nicole.
I don't mean that one. Yeah, maybe that one. No, there was one.
Yeah.
The first one we put up was that Nicole? Nicole and somebody. Doing on vocabulary.
Yes, I saw that presentation. It was excellent.
Dr. Zimmerman and Nicole.
Oh yeah, right.
Cheryl Zimmerman. Yeah, it was amazing.
Great.
Oh, Weina, I'm sorry, you had something you wanted to.
Oh, yeah. The other thing about this page is also, for example, if you're creating separate Wix or Weebly pages under different domains, then we cannot really track how many people are interested in, like, for example, one chapter's event or our virtual yearly conference. Like, we cannot really track how many people are viewing that event because that's outside of this Google Analytics. So that's the other reason you want to keep everything under the same domain.
Okay, thank you. That's another reason. Tracking only within carousel.
Yeah.
How would we make that information available to the chapters?
Oh, well, we talk to them. We go like, okay, guys, I know you guys have a chapter event coming up, and I hope that you're gonna come to this training so you learn how you can make that event go through carousel. Now, some of them are having the event, they're making the events using the registration, but they're still using their own existing website. So now we want to say you're using the website as well as the event registration all together. But we're getting to the point of how to do that. So my part is I want to learn how to do that. And then I want to offer training on how to do that and invite people to join us over the next period of time. But I think we need to first talk about it at the board to continue this idea that we brought up a couple of years ago and put some teeth into it. And now that we're in the system, we've been in the system since 2018. I didn't know it was that long. I thought it was last year, but I was wrong. That was when we left Google. We're actually been in this system since December of 2018. Now that's long enough for us to figure out how to use it, how to drive the car. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm trying to.
But Marsha,
yeah.
Marsha, yeah, I do think though that it's good. I appreciate your initiative to because it may take some discussions with an S to really kind of convince. Well, two things: to convince people of the validity of the suggestion, but also I think it gives us an opportunity to get both ends of it, right? So let's hear from all the entities out there what they like about this idea and what they don't like about this idea. And maybe we can take what they like about it or their suggestions about how to do it. You know, we churn that into what it is we're trying to do. And then we hear about their objections or concerns and maybe not in the moment try to address them, but figure out, solve them for lack of a better word, but really to hear them and hear what those concerns are, and then see about coming to some sort of a middle ground, right? Where it's like, well, this is how we can propose, addressing some of these concerns that you have. I mean, I do think this issue of, the autonomy that all these folks have had over the years is really, that's the huge stumbling block. I mean, I think the mechanics is one thing, but I think just this proposal that we do it a different way, especially again, for some of these entities, they've been doing it on their own with little to no direction / support / whatever from the board level, right? So it's like, oh, well, you haven't been around for the last X number of years, and now all of a sudden you want to do it. So we're not really sure that that's a good idea, So I think it's a series of conversations to really address those concerns.
So Anthony, are you suggesting that we bring this up at the board meeting and we say, this is what we are thinking that would be a really good idea. What are your concerns? And then we hit them and we let us hit us whatever concerns they are. Mm-hmm. And we go, we'll take all these under advisement. Then we'll come back for the July meeting and say, well, given that we had all of these types of input, here's our proposal.
I do think it's a series. I think it's not just one discussion. I think it's at least a couple of discussions. So, and I think we sort of take the long view, right? It's like, I think we need to give folks a couple of times to tell us what the concerns are and if they need to reiterate them or what have you. But I do think it's I think it's a couple of discussions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great ideas. Can I show you stuff now?
Yeah, I heard that idea earlier that I thought was a really good one along Anthony's point is baby steps on this. So maybe we start with helping those chapters, if we're talking about the chapters that actually need help, right? I know someone else had already mentioned that, maybe Nancy or Michelle, I'm not sure. But start with them because they're willing, they're like, okay, great, we need help, right? And we just work with them for a while and we see how that goes, kind of kink out, the details and make sure everything was working the way we're hoping it does. Mm-hmm. And then at a later time, start bringing in everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work, then we know
All right.
without upsetting everybody.
So some chapters have not asked the membership for money to pay for their websites, and others have. So then it gets also to be a question of equity. Why are we paying $156 for Los Padres to have their website? And that's all of us, the whole membership, our money is going to Los Padres. So there's a problem of equity there too. All right, this happened like just at the turnover when Susan came in and was asked to pay a bill. Now we are tens of thousands in the red. So money is a huge, huge problem that we expect to help get resolved with the next conference, because we made a bunch of money on our spring virtual, and we are looking forward to earning money for our annual so that we can pay back serious debts that we've had for a few years. So that's why every bit of cash going out raises a question about whether we should be doing this at all. But other chapters are not asking the mothership for money. We don't know whether anybody's paying for it or they're on free sites, because some of the things are done on free sites. So that's a possibility too. But okay, I get the idea. Take little steps, allow people to express their concerns, and then have a few more discussions so that we can address the concerns that are on the board side and on the side of chapters and regionals. All right, can I show you some stuff now, you guys?
I got one really quick suggestion. The people who are actually creating the websites, like Los Padres and stuff like that, simply recruit those people for carousel, for the to work on whatever project related to what they, just simply recruit them and get them to do that. Recruit them by name. Just don't put out a general, yes, we're looking for people for such and such. Go and get them. And that's a way to basically subsume whatever they're doing.
Okay, got it. Send my notes. Thanks. All right, now can I show you some stuff?
Okay, Marsha, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much for sharing with us about the analytics, and we'll be in touch.
Let me know, if you want to download the previous data, let me know for how long you want to retrieve, and I can do that.
Bentley, work with Weina on that.
Yes.
Thank you. Good. Thank you very much. Okay.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. I want to show you a few things that let's see, let me share this one. This one I'll share for a bit. I'm looking at the structure of the website, and I don't know if you can see, this is a web doc. And I'm just trying to, maybe it's a good idea to, okay, so on our current carousel web, can you see do you see the Word document? Yes, no? Is it showing? Okay.
Yes.
All right, so right now this is kind of the way it's set up. And I'm not so sure that all of these categories and subcategories are logical. And I think that we could rethink the places where these things belong. And maybe some of it we'll do after Bentley figures out with Weina, how do we get the analytics, and we can see where people go and where they go next. This grid right here is the menu bar on the home page, and this is the menu bar inside MemberLib. Once you have signed in, there are 6 icons we're not generally using. I don't know if you even guys mention, go in here, but this is where you would find out what your member profile looks like. And you could also go to communication and get to the message board. That's one of the things that I went to today on our IGC meeting. Was it message board or was it in here? Anyway, this just gives you an overview of things that I'm looking at and thinking of possibly moving things around, but not having gotten anything in particular. So if you have some ideas about where you think things are more logical to belong to, then I'm all ears, and you can give me some ideas. Now, I want to show you what the website looks like right now, and this is the About Us. I think I mentioned in our last meeting that I thought this is too long and drawn out. So I'm working on another page which looks more like this. Obviously,
great.
I have just put together, people, I'm trying to make a template for this.
Right.
Because what I'd like to do is have something where you don't have to scroll so much.
Right.
So there's going to be, I thought, well, maybe at the top I would put president, past president, and president-elect here. And then all the other peeps down here, which would be probably at least 3 rows of 6. So that way it might take up 2 pages and not so many. Now I noticed that on this one, it goes down like this with all these different cells here. And I think that there's no reason why it has to take up so much space. And it doesn't mean, and I don't know why we have about us and welcome in the same thing. So I cut out some words in order to make it more succinct. Does that, like this. Does that look okay?
Yeah, no, I really like that. And one of the things I'm really excited about, Marsha, is, when you are happy with the website, what I'll do is I'll put the mobile on pause, because some of the links that I set up for the mobile app are based on the on the old format. So once you feel like the website is sort of in the final stages, then and only then will I sort of pick up and reconvene.
Well, in the meanwhile, this particular page is hidden. It's not public yet.
Okay.
So the About Us page here is still. And when I think that we've gotten, so Suzanne has taken up where Steve left off and is writing letters to everyone whose photos we need, right? How are you doing on that, Suzanne? You want to unmute yourself and just say something?
I'm starting to work on that. And so right now I'm just going to be focusing on the current board members. And
Oh, like Bentley. He's
Yeah.
that blue spot. Okay, good. So you're going to work on the current, right? We're not going to go into next year's,
Right.
although we know them. We don't want to go there yet.
Right. Yeah. Just to see what happens with this first go around. And
Yes. So that would be, I can't wait for you to do that and bring in some photos that we can put in place of these markers. Yeah. I decided I didn't like that one. That's why I made up my other, my other person. I decided, well, let's do this. One of the things that really bothers me about this system, I mean, there are a lot of things that bother me about the Member Leap system. The way you make pages is like, there's not a way to center these photos, and it's crappy because I want the photos to be centered. You can center this text, you can center that text, and the photos are either left or right aligned. And so that pisses me off. Even when I go into the source code and I wrote align center. So I've sent out a message to Member Leap and ask them to tell me a workaround so that I can center them. That's one of my next things. Once I get those centered, then I have to go into each one of these. I can't do a copy and paste all of this. I have to go and make a new cell for each. But the good thing about this system is that as the screen gets narrow, so if you're on a mobile, then it'll automatically do this. So that's cool. because when you're in tables, it won't do that. And my first thing was tables, and then everybody got truncated if they were off on the right side. So anyway, I just had to learn how to use this Bootstrap grid system, and I got this far and I felt, hooray! I'm sweating and I'm sweltering in place.
I really like this. I only will make one suggestion. It's like I think that you should get. I like it because if most people pulled this up, they're gonna be able to see everything, and they're not gonna have to scroll. But I think that you need a line beat or like a line feed between the about and the vision statement and the board of directors. I think it's a little too scrunched together. Just a simple line feed between all of them.
Right here, yeah. So actually one of the things I thought about was like putting this one in a box.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, so it would only be 2 lines. You could even get rid of the about. I also was wondering about the standard English as a second dialect. What does that mean? I'm not, okay, one thing I'm not going to do is I'm not going to change language that is board approved. Okay, this is board approved?
Right, so I'm not
Okay, fine. That's fine.
The only thing I changed is headings. So if we want to do that, that's another thing. Yeah, okay, and also the bylaws, I just got the bylaws that were corrected or updated at the end of last year at the after the annual, and right now it's going out to a Google Doc, which I don't want it to go to, but the system is really crappy when it comes to documents. The way it handles documents is just horrible, and so the whole website has gobbledygook stuffed into a place that I can't even get to. I'm not allowed to go into the folder in which there are all sorts of PDFs and docs and JPEGs and GIFs and all that. They're all dumped into a system. The only way that I'm allowed to reach them and that it is accessible is by opening a page or creating a page or pretending to create a page, saying I want to add an element and then going in there, and then I can either delete that or move it. But that's one that is going to make my hair turn white tomorrow if they don't find me a workaround. And after all these go rounds, I'm afraid there is not one. So I haven't uploaded this yet because look at the logo is wrong, and there are a few other things. So I wrote back to the secretaries and said there are a couple of things that need to be fixed up before I turn this into a PDF and make it into something that I can upload and then add to the website. But this is what it looks on just on the source code stuff. Is this different? This is really different to me. I don't know. Anyway, that's one of the pages that I've been working on. I also asked for help on this page. I think a lot of this needs to be mushed together or made more succinct. I think we're taking up too much real estate for this one button or this one link.
And would it be possible to get a visual? It just seems like there's a lot of text.
Yeah.
So this is old fashioned. So what happened is that this came in from the old website a couple of years ago and hasn't been touched. It's out of date. Judy O'Laughlin is our advocacy person to whatever. And so she's given me some feedback, which I then forwarded to Suzanne, who said she's going to look at it and put it together. And maybe this should go under resources. Now, one of the things I did was I added the newsletters to communication, and I want to take Congressional Journal and put it over there too, because I think publications are sisters. I think publications like Journal, blog, and newsletters belong in the same bunch. I don't know about you, but they seem to be more aligned than these other things.
Yeah, and I was wondering if, and maybe you're on your way there. I was wondering if we could glance at the membership tab and then membership benefits.
Okay, so
member benefits?
Yes. So membership, one of the things is I've been informed by the awards committee that they are not only for CATISO members. So we're going to take away everything except for awards. And then the question is, it shouldn't be under membership if these awards are available to everyone, but where should it be? If there are awards, where should the awards go? Any suggestions? Where to put the awards?
So Marsha, I thought that the CATISL Education Foundation was sort of the manager of
Yes.
awards.
Yes, they are.
They are.
So
It's
here's what
Helen.
I'm doing with this. They are the manager, but we don't want to send them to the site immediately. We want to show our members that these are all the, well, these are, this is not up to date. I just got the update yesterday. So these are the member awards for people of these levels. And these are other awards that are available, and plus the ones that, you know, like up and coming teachers who are not yet members. So we want to publish them on our site, and then we say, now here's where you get the details. All right, that's, I mean, I'm learning from Bentley. He's a business guy. So Bentley is trying to teach us more about how websites can promote the brand by keeping information within the site. So that was my effort to do just that, and then give them the link.
Yeah, and as one of the board members for the Education Foundation, one of our goals, even with the last conference, was to make sure that the traffic stayed on the CATISL website, but that we only mentioned the sponsorships and the awards towards the end. But the goal was to keep all the foot traffic or digital traffic here.
So where would
we're
you
doing
think?
the same with the website.
Where do you think we should put awards? Because I don't think it belongs here.
So Marsha.
Yes.
So so after watching the recording from the last time, so I think that this is a good opportunity for this group to really rethink what you showed us maybe 10, 15 minutes ago, kind of the grid view of, like, you know, what are all these tabs, and then what's going to be housed in the tabs. So I think instead of taking them sort of one by one as you're asking us, I think we need to kind of rethink the whole enterprise. And I'm really in favor of the promoting the mission of the organization. And within the mission, the 4 areas are mentioned. So professional development, advocacy, research, and standards. So I've been kind of turning this around in my head for a couple of days, and I will go ahead and forward something to the group, you know, just to kind of look at my take on it. So for example, I mean, you mentioned the journal, CATISL Journal, and I really think the CATISL Journal, if we had a research tab that we don't currently, that's where the CATISL Journal belongs, because it's really our main representation of the research, some of the research that CATISL members do. But we don't have a research tab. So maybe I'm encouraging all of us to kind of look at those, look at that kind of organization of the website as it's represented by those tabs. And maybe without digging into the tabs too deeply, just to start, just kind of think about, like, what are the tabs that make sense for our organization? So I would like to see tabs that really promote those pieces of the mission. Not to say that those are the only tabs. I mean, I think we probably need a couple of extra tabs, like the About Us and like the Support, for example. But
okay, Anthony, what are the 4?
Well, in our mission, it's professional development, advocacy, research, and standards.
Okay.
So Jennifer, let me just close up, and then I'll turn to you. So again, like I say, I think without going like one by one, like, where does this belong? Where does that belong? Where does this belong? So let's make sure we get the tabs right first. And then I think if we get the tabs right, then the decisions that we make about the individual items will make a lot more sense in the context of what are the correct tabs, because I think the tabs have gotten a little bit away from us at the moment. you know, we have some tabs that are sort of super populated, and then we have other tabs that really, like the advocacy, for example, that isn't, you know, it's not a really fair representation of the advocacy things that we're doing as an organization. So my suggestion to the group is let's get the tabs right, and then we can start piecing the items, you know, in the proper places. So
How about instead of, how about publications?
Well, that was one of the things that I thought of when I thought of the 3 things that we put up here, the blog, the newsletters, and the carousel journal, because that seemed to me ways that we communicate in print or kind of sort of print.
So one thing that we've done on the OTAN, so in the last year, we've reorganized the OTAN website. OTAN is who I work for. And so one of the tabs that we have is called Stay Connected. And under the Stay Connected tab are our publications, so like the newsletters and the digests that we send out. But we also have a link to all of our social media as well under Stay Connected. So to me, like, you know, somebody at a glance could see like all the different ways that they could stay connected to the organization. So I mean, that's just you know, for the context of this discussion. But I think that if we so maybe publications on their own make sense moving forward. I'm not entirely convinced that that's correct, but if we, like I say, if we get these tabs nailed down, then I think it'll be clear what goes where.
Well, so this is our task. Our task is to really decide on a way to organize. It's just like if you're moving into a new house and you're going to set up your kitchen, right? Not everybody puts everything in the same place, but we have certain ways of organizing this stuff to make it fit. And sometimes it's because the cabinet size. And we don't have too much stuff on one tab and not too much stuff on another, even though it might make sense in another way to look at it. So you're right. That is the thing that I'm looking for, is to see what are the ways to categorize what we want to promote, or the ways that we want to promote carousel, and give our users access. And I think one of the things, if we get the analytics data that's over a long enough period of time, we may be able to see which things have been important to users. And it doesn't mean the other things are not important. It might mean that those other things were hard to get to, right? Or they ended up in dead links or something. I haven't seen dead links, but those things will come into play also. So categorization is really important, trying to figure out where to put things.
And
So
it seems
I get requests. People will say, add this to the website. Can't you just add this to the website? And I'm saying, maybe. No, I'm usually saying yes in due time after I discuss it with the committee. And I'm wanting very much to do a couple of things. One is to figure out the whole document stuff, because I told you it is a mess. When I open up that stuff and everything's all glommed together, and when I ask to get access to it so that I can, put stuff in the right order, or somebody can do that. The last message I got was, you can't do that. And I'm just really puzzled by how that is. And there's a file archive system, and there's another kind of upload system. The file archive system is something that is more organizable. But then it's also accessible to the membership, which means that, so I was trying to figure out, well, what does that really mean? If we're putting up various things like the bylaws or the conference proceedings, is that something to worry about? Well, here's something, if you can see where I'm holding, I'm inside the member menu, and there is the one that's called the file archive, right? Can you see that? Is that showing?
Yes.
Okay, so I guess what they were telling me is then stuff will be searchable here. Right now I see only one folder that's called logos, and inside this one there are the black and white and color logos. But it also says that you can search here. I don't know if there were any bylaws in here, but let me just check. That any member could go inside and check to see if they're, but I'm not sure that that's a problem, because I'm not sure that we would ever load anything up in the member area that was, quote, private, or that we would want to keep hidden. So that was one of the things that was said to me to be a possible disadvantage. So I guess there is nothing in there called bylaws. At least it doesn't search on that one. So I'm trying to get a handle on how the files work so that we can, I like them to be organized in some sort of logical fashion. Well, I think we've had a really great discussion on some bigger ideas here. Thank you for giving me feedback on what I'm working on the About Us page. I'm looking forward to Suzanne's getting some photos from the folks who are on the board so we can add your beautiful visages to it. The part about, you know, some of the things like Jennifer was saying, well, we don't need this word about us. Well, there are certain things about the web pages or the way that it's set up here that you can't, that's an automatic thing, and you have to write other code to get rid of it. I had that problem when I was making all the pages where I embedded the videos, and people had titles that were really, really long, and they were being truncated because of whatever limitation there was on characters. So I changed everything, and I changed it to a person's surname and then a part of their title. And then I typed in the heading, and then I would get both of them. And it was a couple months later before I got the answer of how to not show the file name automatically. So there's some things about the system that are just not intuitive. They don't seem to act like other pages, other web things that I have had experience with, but I'm gaining more experience day by day. Michelle, you, another, you know, one of my other objectives, along with Nancy, is to get videos onto the page, because as you know, videos are attractive and they will enhance our visibility and people will come and look. So Michelle, you sent me something, but it wasn't quite the right thing. So I wrote back to you and said, keep looking, and I hope maybe you'll find something that will work for something within. We're looking for something kind of like a carousel like this, where we could have videos showing, and then the user could just click the arrow and move on to the next video and so forth. That make sense?
I think so. So you, I mean, when you come to the page, the video would automatically start.
Well, whether it starts automatically or not, I think that's controllable with the script. Let's say it's not necessarily. I mean, I don't care. Let's see if we can get it. First of all, we can even get something like what I'm expressing, what I'm describing. Okay. But rather than have it as a whole background, which is what, you know, the video that you shared with us, it would be within a cell, within a determined space on the page. Because in those videos, we have content that we want people to pay attention to, whereas the other one was just, you know, like kind of nice background and sunset. Yeah. Okay. So does anybody want to take on a task before our next get together? What do you think?
Marsha, so
Yeah.
my plan is to send the group my thoughts about the reorganizing the website. So
Okay.
I don't know if that's maybe a you know, if other, I mean, it's, if people just want to kind of look at the website, you know, maybe spend a little bit of time on the website and look at some of the tabs. And if you have some ideas about reorganizing, I think, you know, I think that would be super valuable. And then we could all kind of compare notes and come up with something that, you know, come up with a line of, or sort of the organization of the tabs that makes sense for us. And then I think that will really help. I mean, that's, and my feeling is that that will kind of help direct our future work, because then we'll know what it is exactly that we should be beefing up. I mean, we already kind of have a sense of that with some of the pieces of it, but I do think if we get this, I mean, to me, it makes logical sense. Like if we get the organization of it correct, then we'll know, oh yeah, okay, so let's, you know, then we'll have our list of tasks, right? We need help to do this and this and this and down the line. So that's what I'm going to work on, and
Okay,
I'm kind of throwing it out there for other folks to think about that as well.
And actually, one of the things, I've already looked at the website because I was trying to, originally we were trying to get the rollout for the mobile app at one point before the virtual conference, but we're waiting for the second one. And I think to Anthony's point, and also to Marsha's point to a certain extent, it'd be great when people are thinking about the sort of rebranding or revisioning of the website in congruence with the 4 principles, so that it's more mission driven. I think it'd be great to have a template in mind, you know, where they've, you know, where our colleagues have had a chance to really peruse other websites. And I guess from the social media perspective, I'll also be looking at templates of websites and how the website would sort of align, if you will, or work nicely with the mobile app.
Good. Yeah, I think one of the things that has been helpful is to look at, I mean, I've been looking at a lot of websites of organizations kind of similar to ours, educational websites, to get a sense of how they put out information and where they're putting it. And after a while, I think ours is not too bad, to tell you the truth. After I had a 1 hour meeting with Memberly when they gave me my introduction, my orientation. Basically, they had a few points that they wanted to go through, and then I had my questions, and I asked them to show me a few other websites that they manage or that are hosted on Memberly, and then he would go like, oh, that's not very good. Oh, that's not very good either. Here's one you might want to look at, and I'd go like, okay. And so I was feeling like, okay, it's not that horrible. We've made some strides in making it better looking and having more visuals on it. So good on us for that so far. But as a lot of you have been doing, looking at other sites that have similar types of missions as we do, then we can get some ideas of how to organize materials. And so I also looked at, they have very paltry kinds of video clips that go by so fast that I'm pausing it at every few seconds and writing down notes. And that's when I decided to make the Word document, because theirs was an example of a pastry chef, and they had all these things. And I thought, okay, well, this is what they have up here. And we could this is what we have. And maybe there's some blend of how to organize it. But I think that, with Anthony's input on what you've done with the OTAN site and others, similar research and thinking about how we want to structure what we present and how we bring them in, that we can kind of use Post-its and move things around. Yes, Michelle.
I think I brought this up at the last one and I've got it in chat, but would it be helpful to do maybe just a little bit of minimal user testing, maybe once we get a bit more direction from Bentley and Weina, just like, give people a list of, hey, find this, find that, log into this, log into that, and then sort of see how they do and how they feel about it, or if there are things where they're like, yep, couldn't do it, sorry.
I think that's a really great idea, and I would like to ask you to figure out how to do a user test, since I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
But you could say, all right, for every person, we'll ask them to do these tasks. And then what is it? We want them to do a screen share so we know where they're going. Or we want to do a talk through, record it at the same time with, I'm going to this thing and it looks like I should, can we do what do you call those things? Talk and speak aloud. Well, you know what I'm talking about, where you think and you talk at the same time and you use your mouse. So if we can get somebody to do those multitasks, then we would be able to get some information. That would be good. So Michelle, user testing. But here's another thing. The question is whether to make changes now or try to get some user testing first. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't want to, I'm like the About Us page. I mean, I already know what the content is and I'm not really changing that. And then I could just like swap out one page for the other. But the other stuff about, that Anthony is talking about moving things around, I don't want to go to all that trouble first and then do the user testing, do I?
I think we wait, right? Wait until, back to Anthony's point, I think we wait until we kind of, as a group, first look at how it relates to the mission and how we can restructure the site to be mission-based. And once we're happy with that, we can take a look at restructuring it and then get users involved to see, whether or not what we put together actually works on a practical.
And what if it doesn't? Then we go back? Or
Then we figure out how it
logistically, how does that work?
Well, we want buy-in from our end users, right?
Yeah.
That's the main thing. I mean, we can create what we think is a great website, but if they can't use it or they're not using it, then we've kind of missed the point.
Okay, so one of the things is, what are the questions to ask, or what are the things to ask users to do so that we can get information on what we did right and what we did wrong and how we can fix it?
I think to Michelle's point, she's going to be looking at user flow, right? Like once they get to the website, to the homepage, where are they going and what are they actually engaging with on the site? We'll see some of that through the analytics, but you want to be able to see what the experience is from those individuals. Right?
Okay.
Was it easy? Was it easy to find? Maybe you have some kind of metric set up.
Well, that's cool, because I know there is such a thing as user experience, but I don't know anything about how to make that happen. So I would be delighted if you would take that on.
Sure.
Okay, right.
So Marsha, I need to step out of the meeting, but I'm going to work on those things that I said. And then if you want to throw out some dates for the next meeting too, then like a doodle poll or something, then I'll make sure to weigh in on that.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much for everybody's attention and contributions. This is going to be great. We're getting better and better every day. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. I'm going to end the meeting.